Welcome back to the EV Geek podcast. My name is Joel. I am your host, and today on episode 4, we will be talking about my 2-year review driving the Kia EV6. Let's get started. This podcast is sponsored by Evolve Auto. Evolve Auto is one of the South's exclusive EV dealerships specializing in pre-owned Teslas. Evolve Auto ships to 48 states and provides top-notch customer service and financing. Evolve also offers extended warranty options for all vehicles. Check out their entire inventory at evolveauto.com. Evolve Auto, connecting smart people with smart cars. All right, thank you everyone for joining me on episode 4, which is all about my 2-year experience driving the Kia EV6. And I thought this would be a great time to talk about this car because in the news, Kia has announced that they are providing a refresh of the Kia EV6. So they kind of changed some and tweaked some things on the outside, kind of tweaked and changed some things on the inside. Nothing major, but I thought it'd be great for us to kind of talk about what it's like driving this car for the past 2 years. And kind of we'll go over what we normally go over, which is road tripping, maintenance, everyday driving, and then overall pros and cons of the vehicles. So a little bit about my vehicle. It's the 2022 Kia EV6 Wind. It is the wheel drive. Put about 33,000 miles on it. Actually, I haven't. My wife has put 33,000 miles on it. This is her daily driver, but I think I've driven it enough to give you a full review of it. She drives approximately about, 30 to 40 miles a day, sometimes less. She doesn't have a very long commute. So most of the miles on this car are daily driving miles. There are very few road trips on this car. So the one thing I want to first mention about this car is if you like driving a gasoline powered vehicle and you're thinking, I'm going to make that jump to an EV, the Kia EV6 or any of the cars from Hyundai would be a great option for you. When you first get into this car and you're kind of just sitting and looking around at it, it looks like a normal car. It has buttons. It has, your standard buttons for air conditioner and radio and windshield wipers and all that. So sitting into it, it looks like a normal car. It's got the big screen in front, one for the radio and navigation, another one in front of you that shows you your speed and your driving and things like that. So overall, it looks like a normal car when you're driving it on the inside, or a normal gas-powered car. When you start driving, you first notice how quiet it is and that it drives like an electric vehicle. So this would be my suggestion to you is if you're thinking about getting into electric vehicles and you want something that's lower cost, maybe picking up a quality used one, then the EV6 would be my suggestion for you. This vehicle, this model that we have, it has the heated and cold seats. It gets stated about 300 miles. Sometimes when I charge, it shows me 320, 330. Sometimes when I charge to a full charge, sometimes it shows me 298. So sometimes that does fluctuate a lot, which I don't understand why. Everyday driving, we'll start with that. Everyday driving, it is a very comfortable car to drive every day. If you're just the kind of person who has a short commute, just driving to and from work, you're going to come home, plug in, and repeat the same thing every day. This is a great car to have. It's very comfortable. It is very quiet. In fact, this car is a lot quieter than my Tesla Model Y driving it. The suspension is soft, so it handles those bumps and those potholes pretty well. It's very efficient. Acceleration is not, awesome. It kind of accelerates like you would have a normal gas-powered car. You can change the modes on there. There's a comfort mode, an eco mode, and I believe it's eco, comfort, and sport. We keep it on eco mode the most for daily driving, and you can increase it to sport mode to get that extra bump if you want to when you hit that accelerator. I don't think it can compare with a Model Y or a Model 3, but you do get a lot of extra bump when you hit that gas. It has also the standard features like auto wipers, lane departure. I would say the auto wipers on the Kia EV6 are a whole lot better than they are in a Tesla. I mean, just driving down the road on my Tesla, the wipers just cut on randomly when they want to. And the Kia, they're only cutting on when it actually rains, which is nice to know. It's a very nice, solid driving car for an everyday traveler, which is really nice to have, and that's what a lot of people want. It's not high tech, it's something very easy for you to get into for if you're looking to get into an EV. Road tripping. This is where I think it has the most drawbacks, but the thing is, it has nothing to do with the EV6. It has to do with the charging infrastructure. So we've taken this car on road trips probably at the most 3 hours is as far as we've gone in this car. And in those 3 hours, it was a very comfortable, quiet ride. We had 4 kids in there, no issues and things like that. The issue is the charging infrastructure. So this is a CCS charging car. And where we live in the South here and where we go, there's not a lot of CCS superchargers out there. So we have to really plan our trips out if we're going to take this car out on road trips. And the issue is there's not enough of these chargers out there. And if there is a charger out there, I'm not taking a chance that charger is going to be up and running. So we usually take the Tesla for the road trips, the longer road trips, and we use the EV6 for around town driving or those 2 or 3 hour trips where we know we could just get there in one charge up somewhere and then come back. But on those trips, it's comfortable. I have noticed that storage wise, I don't think there's a lot of storage in the car. And this is where kind of me and my wife go back and forth because she thinks there is plenty of storage. I do think the trunk for road tripping can probably fit you about 3, maybe 4 medium-sized suitcase, and that's probably it. It's not a very deep trunk. You don't have those extra storage compartments like you do in the Model Y and the underneath the trunk and then on the 2 sides. So I do think that storage is very limited in this car for suitcases. Plus, once you get too high, you're going to limit your view out of the back window. Also, it does not have much of a frunk. The frunk is more like a frunkalope to probably fit a large blanket or a pillow in it. That's all you can fit in that front space. So not as much storage in the front as there is in the Tesla Model Y. But, comfort wise, feel wise, it's good. It has lane centering. So when you're driving those long trips, it does keep you lane centered and things like that. So it's a nice drive on the road trips. If you don't have to worry about charging, if you do have to worry about charging, it does charge fast. So that is one thing that is great about road tripping this car, that if you do hit one of those CCS chargers and they are working, this car will rip it. I've seen this car get up to 230, 240 kilowatts at a supercharger and maintain that well deep into the charging pack. I think it's still hitting 130, 140, 150 around, 80%. So it's a quick charger. I mean, we're talking 10 to 80%, in like 18, 20 minutes. So this car does rip it. When you can find a good supercharger and the supercharger works, it will get you charged up and on to your destination really fast. So that is one of the advantages that Kia and Hyundai have over a lot of the other competitors, that they really do rip it on supercharging. Maintenance wise, I've not had any major maintenance issues with the car. When I first got it, I'd say within a week, I went to go put the back seat down. You open up the trunk and you hit the little release button to put the back seat down, and the little cable just broke when I did it. I just pulled out and the cable just snapped. I took it in, and within 2 hours, they had it fixed and back to me. That's really the only maintenance that we have had done to the car. We're lucky about that. Like I said, 33,000 miles. We're still on original tires, so no issues there. I did have to replace one tire. I did get a puncture in it that could not be fixed. So one of the tires only has about probably 18,000 miles on it, but just had them rotated and they still look good. So I could probably get another, maybe 8 to 10,000 miles out of these tires. The way it is driven every day, it's not, we don't use a lot of acceleration. We're not ripping it around corners or things like that. So we're pretty gentle with it. So that's probably why we've been able to make the tires last as long as they have. There is one issue that we had problems with, and most Kias have issues with, is this ICCU that's causing the 12-volt batteries to die. So we did have issues for about a period of 2 or 3 months where our 12-volt battery was dead. We'd have the little jump started at home. It would work for 2 or 3 weeks, and it would die again. And we'd take it in. They didn't find anything wrong with it. Charge it back up. 2 or 3 weeks later, it was dead again. So finally, after about 2 or 3 visits to Kia service, we did get them to replace the 12-volt battery. But it hasn't also been in for about 4 recalls for this ICCU update, which is causing these 12 volts. And that's just not on the EV6s. I know the EV9s have had the same issues too. So I think hopefully Tesla gets this figured out before the new refresh. I've heard that they figured this out, and hopefully this is the last recall that I have to take it in. But literally at the recording of this podcast 2 days ago, I got another recall in the mail from Kia that I need to take it in and get it fixed. So I guess we're going back to that. To Kia to get that fixed. All pros and cons of this car. So pros, like I said, great daily driver, low maintenance, comfortable, quiet. If you like a lot of buttons, if that's the kind of driver you are, where you want a button for everything, this is the best car for you. It feels like driving a normal car. It's not like you're getting in this car and feel like you're driving an EV. It does feel like you're driving a normal car. And a lot of people like that. They want that. They want to get in the car and feel like that it drives like a normal car. No, I've had no negative other aspects of it about that, how it drives and things like that. There are some cons that I will talk about. It does seem like there's some parts on the interior that are cheaply made. I mean, we've only had the car 2 years. It's only 33,000 miles on it, and we're not rough people in the car. I mean, my kids are older. They're not rough in the cars. We've already have issues with scratches and paint chipping off and things like that on the interior and things wearing off on the buttons. I think that's just the issue of how it's built, and basically it's just how it's made. I don't think we can do anything to prevent that. It's just normal wear and tear. The charging pad, it does have a wireless charging pad in the middle near the armrest. That charging pad is hit or miss. I mean, sometimes it will charge your phone. Sometimes it won't. And when it is charging, your phone gets extremely hot. In fact, I've had warnings on my phone that said your phone's overheating. It would kind of give you that warning and things like that. So don't know what's going on with that middle charging pad. I have read online. It's not just my car. It's other cars too that have the issue with the charging pad as well. I'm also not a huge fan of the total infotainment center. I have to say I'm spoiled. I drive my Tesla every day, and when I want to change something, it's like 1 or 2 buttons away or 1 or 2 clicks away on the screen. And I found it. For this car, you got to go deep into the menu on the infotainment system. If you want to change the bass or treble, you're going to have to get a YouTube video out or watch something to figure out how to get to it, because you're in 5, 6, 7 menus deep just to do little things like that. Little things like daylight savings time. This car does not do daylight savings time, even though it's set to do daylight savings time. I have to go in there and, change it every fall and spring when we change our time for some reason. But I'll look at it and it's click for daylight savings time. So don't understand that. OTA update, over-the-air updates. I've gotten one, and that took about a week and a half to update. For some reason, Kias only do over-the-air updates when you're driving. So if it's sitting in your driveway, even if it's just sitting there and you're not using it, it does not do an OTA update. You have to be driving it, and it doesn't. Every time I drove it, it would do maybe 3, 4, 5%. So it took forever to do an over-the-air update. I have heard that with the Kia All Access or the Kia Access app, that if you buy the top tier of that app and things like that, you do get over-the-air updates. But I usually just take mine in, similar to this recall I have, to get that done. Charging infrastructure, that's what I would say is another con to this vehicle. And no fault of its own, just fault of the charging network. Nothing Kia did wrong with that. And I would say storage room too. Storage room, there's some issues with the storage room as well. Also, my wife noticed something, that the navigation system doesn't show you traffic. So we don't know if that's something within the settings that we need to fix. But I haven't been able to find that in the setting, because it's just, the settings are so hard to understand. So it doesn't show you traffic or things like that, or how the roads light up red when there's a backup or something. You don't see that real time traffic on the infotainment navigation screen. So, but other than that, I would recommend this car to anyone. If you need a good daily driver, if you want a dependable car with low maintenance that you don't have to worry about. I mean, there's Kias everywhere, so finding service is not going to be an issue for that. There's Kia dealerships in every town. So yeah, really great car, and I would highly recommend it to anyone who's looking to get into an EV. You can get them really cheap right now. I looked online before this podcast. You can get into a 1 or 2 year old Kia for high 20s, low 30s now, low mileage. In fact, I saw a GT version, 2022 Kia GT version, Kia EV6 GT version with like 25,000 miles on that, listed for $30,000. So you can find a great deal out there on one of these cars. And I would highly suggest it if you're thinking about getting into the EV lifestyle, then the Kia EV6 would be a great option for you. Thank you all for tuning into this episode. You can also find us on Patreon at patreon.com/EVGeek. For a $5 monthly membership, we will give you a shout out at the end of our episodes. Please consider becoming a member to help support and grow our podcast. You can also find us on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just search EV Geek Podcast, or check out the episode notes and give us a follow and like. Thank you for everyone for listening. We will see you again on our next episode. So long, everyone.